Okay, what is the issue?
Hello everyone, and a good day to all of you. Welcome back to the second review on the PSA AK-101. This is a 533 round review. Reason for that very odd number, if you recall from my original first impressions review, I said I would do a follow-up review every 1,000 rounds. But here I am at 533 exact because I had an issue with the firing pin breaking, and wanted to talk about that and kind of get this review out quicker than later. And there's a lot to talk about anyway, so I figured I may as well make a review right now than waiting all that time. So to address the biggest problem, of course, the firing pin has broke on me. That's the footage you saw at the very start there, that kind of teaser intro footage. And I am going to talk more about that, but I wanted to go somewhat sequentially. So I have recorded most of the shots that I've been doing with this, about probably 80, maybe even 90%. Only things I didn't record was just when I was zeroing the aim point Comp M4S that I put on here. But everything else is recorded, so throughout the video I'll just have that footage up so you can just see how it's been doing. One issue I did run into, it was in the much lower round, but there was a failure to fire which seemed to be just ammo related. It was Lake City, and yeah, I'll play that footage right now just so you can see what happened there. We got a failure. So first failure at about round 230. I'll put failure to even fire. This is Lake City, MA55. Had a, looks like a fairly light primer strike. Let's see if it goes off. I'll load it back in. Okay. Chambered fine. This one's not wanting to go off. Let's check the next one. Yeah, maybe it's just a bad round. Kind of weird for Lake City, but yeah. All right. Weird. Strange. That one is just bad ammo. I haven't had any other issues ever with Lake City, so just a little bit weird there, but just, yeah, that's what happened with that. As for the ammo, I have been using, like I said, a lot of Lake City MA55, and recently, just to kind of use up my older stocks of ammo, I've been using a lot of PPU 55 grain, which is what I had in here when the firing pin broke. So there's a lot more I want to talk about, but I suppose let's not delay any further. Let's talk about the elephant in the room right now. So I'll cut in that footage of what happened when the firing pin broke.
Okay, what is the issue? Got a failure to fire, and there's absolutely no primer strike on this one. I'm going to test the next one before I check that round again. Okay, it's another failure to fire. Let's check this. 3 failures to fire, so something's wrong. So I just field stripped the rifle. Seemed like a firing pin issue, given that I'm not getting any indentations on the primers, and it is a firing pin issue. So if you look right here, just took the firing pin out so you can see here. There's the front of it, just gone. I'm also, if you see right here where I'm pointing with this pin, there is some weird gouge just right there where I'm kind of scraping, which you can see the metal has worn off there completely. And also you can see, so just that little bit sticking out for the firing pin right there. You can see if I push on it, there's nothing coming out the front. So I wasn't able to retrieve the firing pin head. I have absolutely no clue where it fell to. If you want a reference, I do have the 3 rounds that I ejected that failed to fire here. And these were the first rounds I was firing of the day. These are PPU 55 grain 5.56. You can see just right there. Definitely not an ammo issue. The only other issue I've had so far with this rifle was one actual ammo related issue where failure to fire again, but definitely firing pin was working then. It's definitely not now, as you can see, because there is absolutely no indentation. So before I head out of the range for the day, I did just want to demonstrate. Here's those same 3 PPU that failed to fire in the PSA AK right here where the firing pin broke. And just to prove that it's not an ammo issue, which I mean, should be obvious, but you know, just to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to be testing it in my G95 inspired build right here. So I have a full mag of PPU already loaded, or mostly full I should say. And then I have these 3 rounds right here that failed to fire earlier. You can see that I'm loading them. There's no funny business here. Exact same rounds. Let's see how this goes. And yeah, that's a good portion of the mag fired without any issue whatsoever. So hopefully that proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I've only had one other broken firing pin ever on an AK. That was on my Wasser 10 after some inordinate amount of rounds, probably around 13 to 15,000. I've stopped counting at this point, but point is, I have never had a firing pin break this early, and it shouldn't happen. Clearly something's wrong. So interestingly, when this happened, I was researching a bit more and just seeing if other people have been having this issue, and they have. So when I first bought the PSA AK-101, the biggest issue I was hearing people talk about was that the extractor would, or that the extractor had issues, which I've not ran into. The extractor has been going fine. What I heard prior to buying this was that they did fix the extractor, so they did, but unfortunately I guess I kind of got lost in the rabbit hole of researching the extractor, because it turns out that PSA AKs have had an ongoing issue with firing pins breaking, but unfortunately I kind of just honed in so much on that potential extractor issue that I kind of forgot about any other potential issues that maybe I should look into. So yeah, I heard about the firing pin issue years ago, I think on Garen Thump's channel when he was doing a PSA AK-74 review, and yeah, it turns out they didn't fix it, which I kind of just assumed that they would have by now because it's been years, but nope. So very unfortunate there. It is absolutely still a problem. I have already contacted PSA about this issue. I heard back from their customer support just asking me to confirm my shipping address just 2 days after I initially reported it to them. I haven't heard anything back yet from them yet on actually shipping me a replacement firing pin or pins. I did ask if they could to send me multiple, because I imagine this is going to be an ongoing issue if I break a firing pin at only 533 rounds. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. You know, I haven't dealt with PSA's warranty department or customer service ever in the past. This is my only PSA rifle, so we'll see. I will let you know how it goes. For other issues on how this has been going, so everything else is going to be pretty overshadowed probably by the broken firing pin, which I think is absolutely, like I said, absolutely unacceptable. Should not happen at this low of a round count. Been getting a lot of accuracy issues with this. I did a full accuracy test video, which if you're interested, do check that out. Tried a bunch of different match loads, tried regular ammo. One comment that did come up quite a bit was people saying that they have had good luck with 55 grain. So that is when I started using PPU 55 grain in this. I did group it and still no luck. It shot really poorly. I tried a lot of things that people were recommending. Just if you're interested, I did try taking off the entire handguard, tried shooting it, and of course, you know, resting it off of my bag just right here, that way it's not impacting the harmonics. Tried taking off the muzzle device, and both of those changes actually did help with the overall precision, but it was still absolutely terrible. It was still about, I think the best I got was 4.7 MOA, so very, very poor groups even then. For another just slightly smaller issue, this safety selector. So I did eventually manage to get this bent out to be a comfortable amount of tension. Like you can see, I can actually use my finger to drop it now. When I first got it, it was really tight, easy fix, just bend it outwards a little bit. One thing I don't like though about this specific safety selector is I do wish that this little tab for your index finger, I wish this was a little bit further out. It's a little bit of a low profile, and compared to something like the Armacon safety selector, which is what I'm used to, it juts out quite a bit more. I've noticed that when I push here, my finger wants to almost drop off and hit the trigger. I'm going to leave it as is, but yeah, if I were to do like a ground up build, I would definitely choose something else, maybe like the Krebs or the some of the Polish safeties that have it stuck out a little bit more, or an actual Armacon safety again, but can't really get those anymore because that's a Russian-made one. One other change I did do to the testing, just to see how this will eventually wear. In the original video, I put on a recoil buffer because I heard that PSA AKs have issues with the wear on like the rear trunnion and everything. So I just wanted to prevent that a little bit. Had a good discussion with someone who was commenting there, and I did opt to remove it. So at round, I think it was 319, I took the recoil buffer off, and yeah, I inspected everything in here when the firing pin broke and cleaned everything up. Not really seeing any issues with wear, which is good, but yeah, like I said, there are bigger issues at play. Now, wasn't expecting there to be much of an issue with headspace since I have such a low round count, but thanks to a comment from M26 Lemon Grenade, who was also interestingly doing a PSA AK-101 review right around the same time that I'm doing it. He's kind of doing a series of them. Highly recommend his channel, good stuff there. But he did suggest I pick up a field gauge, so I've got all those, and when I had just everything disassembled anyway for the firing pin, I did go ahead and headspace this just to check it, and yeah, everything passes perfectly there. The go gauge fits in fine, the no go gauge does not, so it's good. And if there ever is any issues, then yeah, I have the field gauge so I can check that sort of stuff on this. Now, I am jumping around a little bit, but one thing I actually learned that's interesting from Lemon Grain's channel that I wonder if this is maybe related to the accuracy issues is that PSA actually uses a mixture of AKM and AK-74 parts. So there's, I think he said there was a millimeter of play between the bolt and the chamber. So maybe that is contributing to the overall poor accuracy because it's just not having that repeatable lockup that you would expect. Or it could just be the trunnion. I saw a lot of people speculating, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards most because this is very, very poorly riveted. If you want to go back to my first impressions review, looks like someone was drunk when they riveted this. They're really just smashed in there and they look really poor quality. So I'm planning that I'll keep doing every 1,000 rounds another review like my original plan. Of course, there's going to be some delays as I wait for PSA to ship me those new firing pins, hopefully, plural. But we'll see on that. Either way, whenever I get the parts I need to get this back up and running, then I absolutely will run it again. Thus far, just from this very short, super low round count, I would absolutely not recommend this. The fact that they didn't fix such a major issue with firing pins. I mean, this whole gun right now is completely dead in the water. I can't recommend it. And it's apparently not just mine because, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about that same issue. So it does seem to be particularly an issue on their small caliber, like their 5.56 and 5.45 rifles. But yeah, apparently it's happening across the board. So take that for what it's worth. Just my own experience has been, it mirrors what a lot of other people were saying. So disappointing there. I can't really say I had super high expectations of a PSA AK. I was actually, though, expecting it to do a lot better than this. I was expecting that I would get in the several thousand rounds and it would probably die, kind of beat itself to death a little bit earlier than a normal AK, but yeah, I wasn't expecting to have any issues this early on in the review process. So quite a disappointment there, surprisingly. If you have any other questions or if you want to add your own experiences on the PSA AKs, let me know in the comments below. I always love to hear those. If you, I guess it's a good point to also address if you feel offended by this as well. There was, most people were fine, but there was a couple, one guy, always one guy in particular in the comments that was really upset about this. So if you derive your personality off of a specific brand or a specific rifle, get some help. And, you know, don't base your personality around a brand. So thank you all for watching and hope to see you all next time, which will hopefully be an actual 1,000 round review then. Take care, see you then.